Let's talk about a fun little piece of information that came out recently about the Switch 2 from Nintendo of America, the president. So this was a tweet from, this is how I found it, from MVG, who's really great, by the way, great YouTube channel. Here's the thing. Fans that can't afford Switch 2 have other Switch platforms. Nintendo of America president. Now, MVG said, now where have I heard this? And as you can see here, some people seem to be a little confused by this, you know, and sorry, I know my head's in the way, but this guy says, like, what do they mean by other Switch platforms? And MVG says Switch 1, of course. Everybody over the age of 10 knows what this is referring to, or what MVG is referring to when he says that, you know, where have I heard this before? But for a little bit of history, I figured, why don't I go over it? So here's an article from CNET. From 2013, Microsoft, no internet, we have a product called the Xbox 360. Do you remember that? When the Xbox One was going to be always online, they were like just kind of out of nowhere. They were like, this is a good idea. We're going to have a Connect with every Xbox One, and you're going to be always online. Jeff Keighley asked about it, actually. Funny enough, Jeff Keighley. He asked, like, what do players do if they don't have some form of connectivity? And I think he's talking about if your internet connection is not consistent, and this was Don Matrick's response at the time.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message. If you don't, like it.
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
Alternatively, there's a fun little quote from Ken Kutaragi from Sony. And this was for the PlayStation 3 in 2005 here. This is an article from Engadget. It's a great quote, great quote. So when asking about, if those of you, maybe you don't know, the PS3 was very fucking expensive. It's like a $600 console, I believe. And that was, you know, coming out around 2005, 2006. Very expensive, premium product. It had a Blu-ray player, you know what I mean? It had a lot of stuff going for it, but it was very expensive. Now, when asked about it, Ken Kutaragi said, this is their goal for the PlayStation 3, for customers to think to themselves, I will work more hours to buy one. Now, that's an absurd quote. That's not the greatest quote. There is another actual better quote. So basically, it's so expensive that it's not a barrier to entry because it's a product that is so good that you have to have it. You will work more hours to buy one. And obviously, you know, Xbox One, kind of a flop, you know, after, I think Don Matrick poisoned the well for that. PS3, though, actually, at the end of the generation, ended up selling better than 360, but it had a very difficult launch, right? The launch was really bad, and they really struggled, and basically they did everything they could to catch up to what the 360 was doing, because the 360 had an early start, and you remember, it had a huge launch. They had a big thing. I think it was on, like, MTV for their announcement. They had, like, you know, crazy events and stuff like that. The Xbox 360 early on was huge. And I think that most people would probably be a little surprised to find out that the PS3 actually sold a little better. But PS3, eventually the price came down. Revisions came out. They took out PS2 hardware from it, so it wasn't backwards compatible anymore. It brought down the price and did other things. The point is that they had to catch up, and they had to course correct, right? Now, with Nintendo, with their big expensive Switch 2. I actually don't think that the price of the Switch 2 is the problem. It's the price of the games. But it is funny to see, you know, I think is this Doug Bowser? Is that the president of America? Funny enough. It's just, this is what happens when you're doing really well. You know what I mean? Switch 1, third best-selling console of all time. This is what they have to say to their fans. Microsoft, Xbox 360. It solidified Microsoft's place in the gaming market. You know what I mean? Original Xbox was okay. It sold okay, but not great. And the PS2 ended up being like the second best-selling, or the number one best-selling console of all time. So it had big competition. But it was really the 360 that solidified it. What do they do with their next console? They completely fuck themselves. Don Matrick goes out there and puts his dick in his ass and then says the dumbest thing you could think of. And then, coming off the PS2, what does Sony do? We've got an idea. We sold 130 million PlayStation 2s. We know these people want it. Why don't we sell this for triple what the PS2 cost? It's the PS triple, after all. And yeah, there's a history of companies doing this. I don't think that it's going to be the end of Nintendo or anything, but they may have to do something like what they did with the 3DS, where they sold it for way too much at launch, and then they had to walk it back and then did the ambassador program and stuff like that. I don't think this is going to be a Wii U, even though I wish it was, because they deserve to get fucked a little. And the Wii U didn't deserve to get fucked, by the way. I like the Wii U. But anyway, I just wanted to touch on this a little bit. I bet some people don't really know what, like, the history of gaming executives being absolute fucking douchebags is, and that's a little tiny taste of it. And these are the presidents, right? Nintendo of America president, Don Matrick president, Ken Kutaragi president. These are people representing their brand at the highest level, and it just goes to show you, you know, you get a little too cocky, and this is what you do. This is what you do. They're farming their audience because the market is plateauing, right? Or it has plateaued in the last generation. And they're not looking for more because they've got the biggest audience you can have. They're looking for more from you. They can't get more people, but they can get more out of their people. So we'll see how it plays out. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. And let's see who gets angry about this now. See ya.